It's the 23rd of May, 2023, and it's Christmas in the Netherlands. In the whole world, in fact, because we've just been granted a fantastic Christmas present of two of the best Warcraft 3 players in the world playing against one another for the Show Cup. Show Cup is a Chinese organized event that awards $1,700 of prize money for a single best of... I have to calculate here. Best of 7. A single best of 7. 1,700 prize money. And the two players that are playing are Happy, who for the last 4 years has been the most dominant Warcraft 3 performing player. Yes, there are still tournaments for Warcraft 3, quite a few in fact, and Happy wins the most of them. I think we can say he is the best Undead player ever in the entire history of Warcraft 3. More than 20 years. Whereas you could say the same for Lyn, for Orc. Lyn, the best Orc player ever. Some people say like, no, it's you, Grubby. Okay, love you, DM me later. But anyway, Lyn, he has the most prize money, he's got the most results as Orc, and he's a fantastic player. I've always loved watching him play, playing against him, and so on. So to see these two go head-to-head in the best of 7 is incredible, and I'm looking forward to opening the books on what they're doing and why they're doing it. Alright, let's begin. Happy has opened with a Death Knight opener and ghouls in the top right corner of the map as the blue Undead, and he's gone for a double ziggurat opener. Acolyte Scout, and he sees a 1 Burrow, 1 Voodoo Lounge opening. Blade Master comes out. Voodoo Lounge is not ready to give him items. This is a standard Altar Burrow Barracks opening with a delayed lounge. Actually, a little confusing that Lyn has an opening where he makes a Voodoo Lounge but doesn't use it. I just schooled a viewer on that yesterday, not to make Voodoo Lounges if you do not intend to stand next to it. And I don't know what information Lyn used in order to go into the map anyway. And did he even find Happy here? So Happy creeps this Ogre Mage very early. This is such an unusual creep route. We never really used to see any stuff like this, taking a bunch of ghouls and skeletons and taking the Ogre Mage early. And it seems like Lyn just kind of failed to harass it. His blade went up here to check if there's maybe like natural creeping. His grunt checked this out but didn't see it or didn't act on it. And then he went back here and walked around a bit. So a lot of wasted time so far for Lyn walking around with his Blade Master. And Happy sold his town portal, sold whatever item he found, which I don't remember now what it is. And he bought a Circlet of Nobility. So there are a lot of cool little changes that Happy has made playing as Undead in the past year even. Now, this man used to be an unmovable rock. In 2008, his micro was incredible. By the way, female Death Knight. His micro was incredible on classic graphics. His micro was incredible, but he was very rigid. He couldn't make much adaptations. But in the last 4 years, he's been making so many changes. And generally, when he makes a change, it's a good change. It's an improvement. So far, I see him buying circlets now, which he never used to do. He's selling Town Portal every game, which is basically two things that Orc always does. They sell their TP with Blade, and then they buy a circlet. And it was thought that this is very important on Blade Master, because bonus stats, 2-2-2, it's basically like a level up. How much do you get when you level up? He just leveled up. I didn't actually see, but it's something like 2-2-2, or maybe less than 2-2-2. And so buying Circlet is kind of like a level up without the skill point. And so Happy doing that on Death Knight, that's new to me. But I think it's really good. It's, you know, it's tankiness, attack speed, damage, health, mana regen, health regen, armor. And then later you can also give any of these to the Lich, if you like, to make him a bit tankier or do more damage. So really just changing more power into the early game, not having the crutch of a town portal. And, you know, as a noob, I would have really thought selling TP, that's weird. I like having TP, you know. But the answer is just don't need it. Just don't find yourself in a situation where you need to town portal out. If you make yourself strong enough and the opponent is not strong enough, then you don't have to TP out. And what's also interesting, it's kind of like investing in Apple 20 years ago. If you sell your town portal now, it's like, well, I don't have a town portal, you know, I can't use it now. But you get so much value out of the other things you do with it. The extra momentum you get, the extra tech speed that you get, the circlet adds value all the time, and eventually you'll be the richer for it, and you can buy the town portal at a later stage again. But first you establish map control, and it's the same reasoning why Blade Master gets, is it 40 years? Why Blade Master actually also does the same thing, just to be stronger now. Skeleton tried to creep steal, didn't get it. And so what's the build for Lin here? He's gone for double grounds and a berserker. One Wind Rider. So one Wind Rider is interesting. Massing Wind Riders gives the opponent amazing value for researching web and getting fiends, because you can just kill fiend after fiend after fiend. But the interesting thing with one Wind Rider, it does good damage. It occupies a dimension that cannot be attacked without web or by Lich or Statue or Destroyer. So ghouls, Death Knight cannot attack it. Cute Book of the Dead attack on Acolytes here. And so this forces web, which costs 150, 150. One Wyvern is so much cheaper than one Fiend with web. And they really don't want to get that web. And by just having one Wyvern, you actually make them make the choice of, I need to invest in web that I will not use the rest of the game. Because obviously he's not going to make a second Wind Rider. Or they don't get web, saving the money. But now they have to kill that Wyvern entirely with Coil, Nova, and auto attacks. Basic attacks. So very nice save there on the Forest Troll Berserker by Lin. With the Hex on the Death Knight, preventing additional right clicks. Speed scrolling it away. Heal solving it. And now, he's not turning. I think maybe I would have turned here. And start attacking DK or Lich. And he does turn now that his hand has been forced, let's say. Hex right before the coil. The coil animation already started, which is actually a thing you should try to do with Hex. You can do this against Death Knight. You can do it against Entangle. The moment they raise their hand for animation, then you Hex. Very good silence there by Happy. Had he not silenced, the Hex on the DK would have killed him, actually. So, high level play. Normally, with Dark Ranger, you can sometimes get Black Arrow first when it's your third hero. When you intend to start with creeping, and you know you're going to get level 2 before the first engagement. But he opened up with silence to save his Death Knight. And essentially, not much happened. Lin very expertly kept alive his second grunt. He kept alive the Berserker. It did cost double heal solve and a speed scroll. 2 hexes. And Lin wasn't creeping during this time. In the meantime, Happy also wasn't creeping, but all he spent was a bit of mana. And he wasn't gonna creep anyway, because he was waiting for, you know, Orb of Corruption. He was waiting for extra ghouls, Ghoul Frenzy upgrade, his statues. So, a good delay by Happy on Lin's creeping. And now, Happy is taking this aggressive position, which makes me feel like he's just gonna do a base attack. He is in a position where he could attack, but he's not. So Lin actually gets away with taking this really big camp. He doesn't really have information where Happy is. He could be creep jacked, but he's got the high ground vision, so that helps. And now, once it gets to this point, there's really no incentive for either player to hunt one another because of the way that the map is shaped. You've got this big movement blocker here. If you look at my cursor here at the minimap, there's a big movement blocker here, here, and here. And there's very little narrow paths, and there's nothing to do in the center. So what that means is that the time you would spend from one side to the map to the other side, you would go through the center, and there are no hobbies here. This isn't like stopping by at a gas station and getting an overpriced coffee. It's like, oh, you know, I'm here anyway. No, there's nothing to do here. So this time spent traveling is a waste of time. That in the meantime, Lin got a creep camp. So that's the price of trying to hunt Lin here. And I want to make sure that you understand that Happy wouldn't be doing this. He would finish this camp, he would finish this camp, unless he felt that this is his timing. Now, what's the timing in an RTS? It's where you feel like you've reached a certain power spike. You've reached certain hero levels, you've finished certain upgrades, you've achieved a certain critical size of your army. The fact that he abandoned the rest of this camp didn't go for this camp, didn't essentially hollow out the bottom right of the map, means he thinks he's stronger and he needs to push Lin around. Rather than splitting the map, he wants to take what Lin has, maybe kill a lot of units. So what did he get out of that? He sacrificed the rest of this camp that no longer had a key item. And he got the mercenary camp, which has a better item. So that's what he pushed Lin away from. And then he gets this small camp. There are some small dregs here. I used to call this the bread. The cheese has been eaten already. There's only 2 slices of bread. Right? When you take the item and then you leave the rest, it's like those kids that remove the bread crust from their bread but only eat the sausage. That their mom painstakingly made them a nice sandwich and all they're eating is the sausage. They throw away the bread and the mom never knows. Anyway, Happy knew, but he didn't eat the bread. And so now he's attacking. He's got a bunch of destroyers, 2 destroyers and 3 statues. He's at 59 population and he's making an acolyte, so he's expanding behind this. And Lin is running away. He doesn't feel like he's strong enough yet. He's only 46 population. Ooh, that's gonna be tough. Nice silence there, stopping TC mid-air war stomp. Immediately going for that Wind Rider. Doesn't get it. Shadow is stuck. There's no way he can save it. That's just gonna be it. That's a nice attack. So how was Happy able to win this game? He had a good, daring creep route opening with the Ogre Mage. He then used his very quick level 3 Death Knight to threaten Coil Nova kills. He didn't get any, and that's to the credit of Lin. But the lead from getting level 3 hero in Warcraft 3 before the opponent, and then using that to get actual value, even if you're just delaying them while you're teching for a higher tier. So you're getting your Ghoul Frenzy and Destroyers before the opponent really maxes out their army. You're letting your ghouls gather lumber while they're not fighting. Gather as much lumber as possible, and then you pull them all in, and you never need to gather lumber again. This is essentially paying off the debt of future lumber costs first, right? So him using quick DK 3, Lich 1, threatening kills, costing items like Speed Scroll Heal Solve, and then bringing everything together and fast creeping a bunch of things, but knowing exactly what he can take and what he should just forget about, because most undeads would just finish the whole camp. But he's like, no, I'm going to take the Ogre Lord, then I'm going to find you. Which got him a Kodo kill, got the mercenary camp, and before Shadow could even get level 3, due to Happy's delay creation, he started another fight, whole bunch of destroyers, which is very much a transformation into a timing attack, because destroyers that still have mana from sucking other statues, they do loads of damage. Destroyers that don't have mana anymore, they're not quite flying junk units, but they're not worth their cost anymore. So the moment you start the mass transformation, it's very important to win or do lethal damage right there. And Happy did. 1-0 to Happy in this best of 7. Here we are with game number 2 of Lin versus Happy. Happy was able to take a 1-0 lead with some pretty innovative creeping, where he was able to take both Ogre Mage level 5 on Last Refuge, which are kind of a primary objective. They offer big consumables, a big XP and gold spike if you end up selling the item, and it's really, really strong. So let's see how Lin is going to try to adapt in game number 2. We are on the new version of Echo Isles, which greatly improves upon the Echo Isles that we have had for such a long time. Fun little story, when Echo Isles came out, this map here on the left side, and here on the right was a healing fountain. This is a very toxic design because it really promoted turtling. You could just stay on your own side and heal, and people couldn't attack into you because you're always going to be having the healing fountain at your back, which has a radius about this big. So if you occupied this space, nobody could kill you. And then in the middle of the map, this was supposed to be the reason that you leave your shell, which it was a pretty compelling reason. Mana Fountain. I don't think a lot of people remember this version, but it was hilarious, and I loved playing Double Spirit Lodge, Mass Shamans, and just Lightning Shield everything. Just make everything hurt each other. Like, he comes with an army with 15 units, Lightning Shield everything, and then Stasis Wards and all that. It was a fun map, but kind of toxic. Then the new version we played most of the tournaments with The mercenary camp was in place instead of the fountain, and the marketplace here instead of the mana fountain. But it was still kind of a turtly map, and that's mainly because there's only a single gold mine expansion for blue and a single gold mine expansion for yellow. Once both players had 2 bases, there was no need to contest other bases anymore because nobody could take a 3rd expansion. Eventually money would run out and there would still not be a reason to attack in some of the games because Defender's advantage was too good. The new version, co-designed by Save Orcas, the Warcraft 3 scientist that came up with many cool strategies that even entered the meta, he co-designed the new version of Echo, adding additional camps here in the bottom right of the map and the bottom left, and adding a new camp at the top with a coveted, contestable 3rd gold mine. And I don't know how many games people have actually managed to expand here yet, but just the fact that it is a possibility, it makes people play a lot less turtly defendy already. So let's talk about the openings. Lynn has opened with just the cheese from the bread, 1 creep with the item, and then again just the cheese from the bread, 1 creep with the item. But he received a very unattractive double ring of protection. While that does give him 41% physical reduction, spell damage from DK Lich completely bypasses it, and it's not bonus damage, which actually makes last hits and damage output for Lynn not any better at all. So not the best items. I thought he was gonna maybe sell one of them and buy a circlet, but I suspect that the Death Knight once again bought a circlet, and he did. So this is not just Happy pimping out his Death Knight or his future Lich, but it's also a denial tactic into the Blade Master. I've seen him do this several times already by now, and it really seems to be a trend. Also the selling of the town portal. So now Lynn does a very tough camp. This is a big risk. I feel like this is extremely risky, but it is also smart because opponents wouldn't expect you to do something this crazy. Or would they? Oh my, this is not good. You know, I once lost a game against Lynn where I tried to take this camp and I got like permabashed by these tunnelers. They were just like high rolling, constantly rolling a 6 on a d6. And I got stunned, and lost my Blade Master to creeps. Many people think I threw the game with that, but I was already very far behind when I attempted that. I know it's a hard camp because of double bash and slow. It still reminded me of that moment though, because, you know, Lynn tried to creep it, DK showed up, he had to leave. Now that's a priest dead, that's a camp not crept, and if I were a Twitch chatter in this series right now, in this game, I would write GG. Just to be edgy, you know, it's fun. In the worst case, people forget you said it because you're just one random guy in the chat. But in the best case, you can have the satisfaction that you are literally Nostradamus. You knew when it was over before anyone else, and you said GG. GG go next. It shows how smart you are. It distinguishes you as a fine gentleman to call GG before anyone else saw it. Wait, or is it pessimism? Or is it a self-fulfilling prophecy? I guess not if you're just a viewer. If you're a player, maybe, yeah. So anyway, that was not good for Lynn. Right? He didn't get the creep camp, and DK got a kill, and he's almost level 3. He was even doing ghoul creeping on some of these creeps. And now, don't tell me he's going to creep this with just 4 ghouls. Any double bashers? So he gets that. That gets him level 3. And meanwhile, he's kind of keeping his eyes on where the Blade Master is. Blade Master did get this camp. Got the creep, the cheese off the bread, with a Ring of Superiority, which is half a circlet, and a new item into Warcraft 3 from the last month, actually. Playside Studios Edition. TC second. Generally, Blade TC means tier 2 focus style. It means early tier 2 expansion, and then defending with Raiders, Kodos, and Berserkers, Headhunters. Happy knows this. He scouts the Tauren Chieftain and immediately starts getting aggressive. Tauren Chieftain creeps pretty well because of the endurance aura and he's tanky, but he doesn't protect himself as well as a Shadow Hunter would. So anytime you are playing against Orc that opens with the TC, you should keep them busy for as much as possible. Doesn't matter whether you super get a lot out of it, Like, you don't need like loads of kills per se. You just need him not to be creeping. And Happy understands this. He does get another grunt for his efforts. And again, if I was a Twitch chatter now, I would write like, I said it was GG. Look, it's still GG. Lynn doesn't have a chance. You know, Happy's just too good. Happy is my favorite player. I hope he reads this message. Because now there's 2 units dead. Where's the Berserker? No, he killed the Berserker as well. It's 3 units. Yeah, there's nothing he can do with Endurance all right here, is there? I mean, he's gonna get some Raiders. He actually made double Raider. Does he have Ensnare upgrade yet, though? I don't think he does. Oh, yeah, he does. Okay. So double Raider with Ensnare. There are plenty of coils to save that Lich, so no problem. And meanwhile, Happy is just teching up. He's making Statue. He's got his 4 cigarettes. Why is he not making ghouls, actually? I haven't studied Undead build transition as much into tier 3. Is it because he's gonna hire Dark Ranger, get some items, start Frenzy, start Destroyer upgrade, and buy Orb of Corruption? Is that why he's saving so much money? He must have a very clear amount of ghouls that he wants to have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perhaps he always aims for exactly 8. All of the like population count is figured out at the high level of Warcraft 3. So he's 37. New hero mix 42. I guess it's just a money thing. He just got the Orb of Corruption. He's still got 300 gold left. So I guess that gives him like, he does this camp, and then he can get the Dark Ranger, and then he can make 2 destroyers. And that's kind of what he has money for. That's what I'm thinking now. So as predicted, Lin went for the expansion. This is something Focus tried as well against Happy in the W3 Champions Finals. You get the TC, you use Stomp to defend against ghouls. Wow, that blade has parry up to Fatality, but you could not feel it in the immediate damage of the Coil Nova nuke. I think he... Yeah, he coiled it. He was almost going to die already to the Death Knight. He's got greater mana pot. He can just coil the Raider. It's hunting season. It's hunting season. He's killing a couple of ghouls here. But at the end of the day, every coil is a dead unit. Or saves one. Splits off one ghoul, removes it from his control group, and wanted to go kill the Berserker, forcing another Ensnare. This is a TC Grunt Headhunter fighting. This time it's Lyn that kind of wants to start a marginal fight and keep Happy busy in order to buy time for this. If you see this, you think like, okay, that's becoming quite a well-fortified expansion. But this takes another minute to finish, this expansion. Happy can just walk up, click it down. Less than 15 seconds, it's dead. He's not going to focus the tower. He's going to cancel this tower and then the Great Hall, I think. So there we go. In comes Lyn to try and defend. The rings are now on the TC, which is actually super useful against Orb of Corruption with such a large health pool. Physical damage is the greatest threat to him with low armor. But he's at 39 population. He's got 2 anti-air units, with Raiders being support anti-air. And we know that Destroyer upgrade is available for Happy, who is making more ghouls and sees no reason to start Crypt Fiend production at this time, because there is no air, just ghouls. All he has to be careful of is not to get all of his ghouls war stomped. At the same time though, nice job by Lyn to kind of flank threaten and get that expansion up and running, or so it would seem. Yeah, I think it's gonna finish. TC, not yet level 3 though, very important against these ghouls. And the base finishes, so... I'm actually so shocked that Happy is focusing this Great Hall. This seems like a huge mistake. He loses several ghouls, killing nothing yet. He does get that final hit on the Raider. I mean, that seems like a pretty big mistake. And now statues are getting attacked. Of course, there's no Lightning Orb, so he can't... remove the frost armor, which pretty much makes the statue invincible. Okay, he's just hitting the Great Hall. The towers can't really attack anything relevant. They're poking the DK, but he takes almost no damage at all from towers. They do pretty good damage on like ghouls. Yo, what happened to Happy's trend of getting 1-1 upgraded ghouls? Do you guys remember that? Like 3 to 5 months ago, he was constantly playing 1-1 upgrade ghouls. Maybe that was against Headhunter TC, Farseer TC. It seems like he's not doing that anymore. I see him like make a whole bunch of statues and destroyers these days. Spiked upgrades just finished, so that's quite nice. And suddenly Lin walks in. He doesn't feel like he's making enough use of the Great Hole to feel like time is on his side. Focuses the statues and gets two really good surgical strike by Lin, and he's not taking a lot of damage on his heroes. It's very, very well done. Didn't overcommit with the ranged units either. And he's got that burrow to escape with the peons. This is honestly so well done by Lin. He was thinking of maybe hiring from the mercenary camp, but how rich is he? 42 population against 43. The peons are dropping real low. Very good peon cycling into the burrow. Too late on that one, so it produces a skeleton. One thing I saw Lin do a lot in the past was he would like cut off reinforcements. But he didn't feel like he can make it that far past where Happy is standing to cut off reinforcements, but that's always something he did really well with his raiders. Like, imagine catching these ghouls, catching this statue. That'd be really sweet. The fight goes on. He's kind of desperately trying to take down the Lich, which has invulnerability potion, and there are coils to save it. It's not that he doesn't know that he can't get the Lich so easily. It's just that anything is almost invincible right now. Frost armor, it drops his damage by half. DK is too tanky to go for. Ideally, you want to take down the ghouls and statues, but so long as that Lich keeps hitting you over and over and over, everything's gonna die. So he comes in again, probably gonna go for the statue, I would say. Or maybe ghouls. Or maybe nothing, and he just runs. Raiders, headhunters are being produced, 43 pop. I think you go for ghouls, but yeah, he needs a voodoo launch here, by the way, to get some health and mana pots. So partially, I guess, attacking Lich means that DK won't use coil aggressively, which is nice. But look how much damage is being sank into the Lich. And he's got another coil. The TC is almost in lethal range. Blade running away, does have a windwalk. He killed one statue in the meantime. So it's threatening one thing, but then also killing another. There are a lot of different micro techniques to use aggressively and defensively. Sometimes you put all your damage on one, sometimes you spread your damage on two. One obvious and one kind of sneaking in. The best hero focus fire blow-ups usually have a couple of units on your enemy hero. While you visibly focus everything on a single unit, he's looking at the unit, and suddenly when the enemy hero drops under a certain kill threshold, bam, hex, stomp, crit, windwalk. It's usually more effective than announcing, I am going to focus your hero, than focusing it, and then they get saved, because there's nothing else going on. Yeah, Happy's attack once again broke the defenses of Lin. And Lin is gonna do what he used to do. See, the cutoffs? This is the move I'm talking about. He did this better than anyone. I was usually known for like base trading, attacking their base, and forcing them home. That's how I got a lot of wins against Happy in 2007, 8, 9. And Lin always went for the reinforcements. And then you had Zekard in 2004, who was known for when enemy attack his base, he just ignores it. The ostrich method. Just ignore it. Knock, knock. Zekard never got that joke. He doesn't answer. He goes creeping. That's how he won a lot of matches. That's how he beat a lot of good players. When the opponent starts getting his racks, nothing. 2 burrows down, no problem. Almost losing peons, it's GG. Almost losing peons, okay, now I TP, says Zekard. And I'm level 4-4 and you're level 3-2, because I spent this time that you were killing my racks, half my Great Hole, 3-4 peons, 2 burrows, my shop and my war mill. I spent that time creeping. So, Happy is leading 2-0. GG. Have you played pro? Yeah, I've competed too. I'm a former 6 times former world champion. I've played hundreds of tournaments in Warcraft 3. I've been to 24 countries. Okay, let's go watch game number 3 next. Sup to the Grub. Hope you enjoyed.